I just wanted to introduce what we're doing today. We're speaking on how waste-to-energy company revitalized growth with Cloud ERP and Zenardy. My name is Jenny Mosley, and I'm an Alliance Marketing Manager at NetSuite, and I'll be kicking off today's event. For those of you who aren't familiar, NetSuite is the first cloud ERP founded over 20 years ago. We have more than 34,000 customers in more than 217 countries across the globe. We're also joined by our alliance partner, Zenardy. Just to quickly introduce them, Zenardy is headquartered in Tampa, Florida, and was established in 2018. They have NetSuite experts in the US, Canada, India, and Israel. Zenardy's services offers including ERP implementation, application to application integration services using middleware platforms like Celigo, MuleSoft, and business transformations within the NetSuite ecosystem using integrated suite apps. They have over 75 plus implementations in their portfolio and have been a NetSuite Partner of the Year for 2 times in a row. I'd like to quickly introduce Anthony, who's joining us from Alden Group. So to kick us off, Anthony, can you give us a brief background on yourself and Alden Group?
Yeah, first, thank you very much, Jenny. Hi everyone. Anthony Fernandez here. I'm the group controller at Alden. Alden Group, we have a proprietary system. It's called FogX, which is fats, oils, and greases, and X is extraction. And what we do is we efficiently convert and the recovered food processing byproducts that's there to a marketable commodity in the market. So, we meet the expectations of the customers. At the same time, we do not compete with other, fuels or even greases that's sold in the market. So it's pretty niche and unique that I would say that this company has. And being a power user in both SAP, Hyperion, and also NetSuite.
Awesome, thank you. Perfect. And now just kind of jumping into Alden Group's story and some of the challenges you face, can you let us know just what those challenges were before you implemented the system?
Absolutely, yes. So joining here in October of last year, the first thing that I was tasked with, is coming in and identifying a system. Now, the first thing, if you join as a controller, you already have things already set for you, but this was a challenge, and I love challenges. So it was find a system and implement it. And the company was already started generating revenue, and there was a legacy system, QuickBooks. But the thing with QuickBooks was it didn't meet the needs of the growing company, and I had to search for something that would really fit well with a lot, because this company is very asset intensive, and I was looking for something that would help me manage those assets and also find out how I could see if those assets are working efficiently enough for the company. So I had an aggressive implementation go live. I placed myself at 3 months, and it required for me to get a company that could give me quick responses back. Also, have an implementation team that would be ready to take on this aggressive timeline, and then also, have high demands, so meet my expectations was is a must too. Now, when I say that, I did contact 3 companies: Oracle, Microsoft 365, and Sage. Intacct is one of their products. Well, Oracle, their response time, was amazing. They set up meetings, demos. I think it was, I would say, pretty less than 24 to 48 hours when they started, the conversations. Sadly, and this makes me laugh sometimes. Microsoft is yet to get back to me with the demo and a quote. So till today, we passed implementation and we're still down there. So yeah, good job on NetSuite to have that good customer service and responsive time.
But just curious on, assuming Sage and Oracle you are evaluating side by side, what are the main drivers or reasons for choosing NetSuite? Can you throw some light on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the big things that we had was we worked with NetSuite. I worked with NetSuite for 2 years, very intensive, right? In the previous company I had worked for. what I like about NetSuite, is that it's very user-friendly, right? It has great reports. The key KPIs, the ease of customizing the reports, it's just very friendly to integrations. Now here, there were two systems prior to me implementing NetSuite. One is Stamply, and we do the vendor invoice automation for it. And the other one is Expensify, and for that is what we use it for expense reportings. There's a big cost in both of those buckets, right? You have the vendor bills coming in, and then you have people having corporate cards spending money. Now, there is so much of data entry if you go and look at it, because there are times when people vendors send bills and you get it into your mailbox, and then you have your AP person, put it in a folder and then go in and put it into the system. So there's so much of data entry, and there's also room for error, right? You miscode stuff, or there is you fat finger a number, and then you have to go back and correct everything. Well, with the integration that NetSuite had, this was really simple and efficient. It helped us immediately integrate it without even going and doing data entry in there. Besides that, NetSuite has great assets and inventory modules that I've used in the past, and I'm using it now. The purchase order process is fantastic. It also has a tax engine called SuiteTax that enables you to be in compliance with the government on sales tax and use tax regulations. For the sales team, they have a very good product called the CRM, which is the customer relationship management piece. So that's also very good to use. And then not forgetting the other benefits that NetSuite has, and these are some hidden ones that once you see it, it's really helpful. For example, the ACH uploads into the bank systems. They integrate into, I currently use Chase and Bank of America, and I can just take the statements and upload it into it for payments to vendors and notify them immediately, and it just eliminates so much of time to process information. The bank reconciliation, that's a great one. It has this auto matching function, which really helps take time off, shaves time off your close days. And then there are small pieces like the advanced intercompany journal entries when you're transferring money or a movement of expenses from one entity to the other. That makes it really helpful to process everything and get it done more timely and efficiently.
Got it. Thank you. But would it be possible for you to quantify the value or the efficiency or some of the cost savings that you would have experienced along the way during the implementation? Or it's been a few months you have gone live. So how do you see the post-implementation value of adopting the NetSuite platform?
Yeah, and that's a good question, Vijay. Thanks for asking that. Yes, it did bring back, it shaved a lot of days off my close, every month close that I had. But again, this system, NetSuite, is so user-friendly and at the same time integration-friendly. So just connecting it to Stamply and Expensify, I've saved time on data processing, like I mentioned. If I had to put the number to it, I would say it literally shaved me off 7 days. I used to take 10 days, with my team to process information into the system during close. And now we are down to 3 days and everything gets processed in. What is really important that I would put and quantify is not only the timeline and the manpower used to input that data, which eventually gets more accuracy and efficiency, is I can report my financials more earlier. And if you ask any controller or CFO, the first thing they need is to see how the month's going, or where's the month end, and how quick can we take actions for the business when needed. Because if you get your data late and then you have to make decisions, the month's ended and the next month's in, and that it's a revolving process. So if the quicker you can close more accurately, you look at your financials, you start making better decisions, and you fix areas of the business that need help. So that's where I would quantify most of my information at.
Can you tell me a little more about how the implementation process went, especially considering you guys had some specialized needs with Zenardy?
Yeah, it did, and I'll see, everybody who knows me in the company knows that I'm very demanding. So it takes a lot, right? When you're a controller, it takes a lot because there's a lot of targets, there's a lot of deadlines, there's timelines that you have to meet. So to be honest with you, it exceeded my expectations. The customer service with Zenardy has been top notch, I must say that. And the best thing that I know Vijay is on the call too, but the team he put together for my implementation, they had they had the knowledge, they had the expertise. They literally met every milestone that we put together, and it was a team effort, and they did fantastic on that. What I liked about them is if there was nothing that they knew how to do, or we got stuck, the next thing they would do is they would research and they would fix it without any delays. Especially customized forms and provide any additional guidance on how to do things. Now, I must say one thing that's really good with them, and we worked this out, is they provided us a combination of their local and offshore support, right? So the resources from local and offshore was a part of this implementation team. So this really helped me achieve my timeline, because I would come to work in the morning, we would work with the local folks over here. Her name is Tamara, and then we would work with her. And then next thing you know is Vineil, who was in offshore, he would work with it. So there was it was almost 24 hours of work that was going through. So, and then the hypercare after implementation support is fantastic. So, is great, really great.
That's awesome. That's amazing to hear. And having kind of all cylinders working at all times is amazing. I know that can be huge, especially when you guys are working on such a fast timeline. So that's great to hear. Can you tell me too, I know through this process and the implementation process that you guys did have a couple of unique customizations. Can you tell me a little bit more about what those look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll attest to some of these, but I think the main man behind more of this customization is Vineil, so I'll let him speak to some of these. But he's helped me out along with Tamara, and the customized forms for us, which like purchase orders, and they are unique because every company you go to, although the accounting is just it's GAAP, right? Every company has to do as per GAAP principles, but then you customize certain pieces of the business to meet your requirements. And so I had custom forms for purchase orders, sales orders, invoicing, billing, and financial reports. And Vineil, I know you're online, so I'll let you speak to some of the reports that you helped us out with.
Yeah, sure, Anthony. So yeah, in the interest of time, I'll just highlight a couple of customizations. So anyhow, like Anthony mentioned earlier, so we did a customization for ACH file to upload it into the bank. So that is one customization. And the financial reports, income statements with EBITDA and DSO, all these these are some of the customizations which we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and these customers, thank you, Vineil. And again, these reports, I know NetSuite has great CAN reports, and they're really good, but sometimes there's a little, you want to see it differently, you want to see it. And we have one of our entities is the transportation company, and we have 20 trucks, and I want to see how much I've spent on each truck. And these folks helped us to literally separate and bifurcate out, so we can data entry into the system by truck. And I can see if my asset utilization is great on truck number 5, I need to get rid of truck number 6. So, those type of things are just pieces of the business that you make decisions on that really help. And these folks really helped us get there.
It's amazing.
All right. So, I know we've been added a lot today. So I was just going to ask Zenardy, right? And from your experience, what did you see? Y'all have done a lot of implementation with other companies, and y'all have seen it all, maybe, and so what would you say, Zenardy, and this is open to you guys, across all the implementation that you have seen, what's your experience that you had with us?
Yeah, I think before we answer that straight, I want to take the opportunity to say why we are selected or why we get evaluated by NetSuite for some of these opportunities. As the ecosystem is pretty strong and sizable, each partner brings unique flavor. For us, it is more about, you already called out once, giving the round-the-clock support, but also addressing some of the complexities in every client scenario or dynamics, in which case some of what we could do is something that you highlighted. I think specific to this industry, why we get frequently called is because this is not a straightforward cookie cutter implementation model, right? So we bring the product, we ask some sessions, we conduct some sessions, ask questions, and just implement to your responses. This is more about going deep into your industry. While everything falls into the larger renewable energy or oil and gas, is also another previous company that you worked with, where we do quite a sizable NetSuite implementations. It all boils down to 2 or 3 things: which partner or who can understand our business better, have done repeatable solutions, and how cost effective they can get. What we have seen as a general trend in the recent times, especially with so much of fluctuations around oil prices and some of the geopolitical challenges and all, companies still need to migrate because the people availability, the platform remoteness is something that is getting challenging. So they need something that is instant, something that they can access pretty much everywhere they can. In that model, also factoring the other dynamics, how cost effective it can get, but at the same time, I need all these integrations or all these capabilities. That is actually what we are seeing for most part. But when we get onto these calls, the big thing that we see in specifically this vertical is, because it is evolving and new, there are only few individuals or resources that can understand the model and be able to translate in their language. So our number one criteria, or what we are seeing, is which team or partner can translate ERP to our terms, while they understand our terms and put it on the platform effectively and efficiently so we can leverage.
Do you ever get caught in a situation, Vijay, where it's you have a business partner and you got a customer in, and sometimes it doesn't match up, and do you see yourself trying to figure out how to work that out with the customer?
Yeah, all the time, honestly. I think the strength really comes down to, end of the day, there are certain commonalities in the business that are required to be operated in a set standard fashion to comply with the accounting rules. So our strength always, not just ours in the sense Zenardy's, but any partner's strength in general, has to separate the commonalities versus exceptions. And within exceptions, certain industries also cut across. For example, the Stamply integration that you had is very much similar to some of the standard upfront vendor enablement or procurement solutions that we have built in the past, right? Unless we know why you are doing it, it might as well be a different platform. It wouldn't come across natural in terms of building those solutions. So given our ability to build those solutions in the past across different applications, and in full disclosure, we also built one on native NetSuite platform itself. However, the Stamply is very tightly integrated in your business model. So for us, it's important to bring that knowledge, but also understand your sensitivity, like I said, and be able to build it. That happens all the time.
Good.
Amazing. Yeah, thanks for that insight, Vijay. Kind of to close this out, I wanted to ask you, Anthony, just what's next for Alden Group, and what do you guys see in terms of our long-term partnership?
Yeah, so it's like I was saying, the company is growing. Since I joined in October, we have been on a fast pace just because of the market we play in, and there's very limited folks that competition is very limited and much in different states. I would say very less competition. So as we are growing, we'll need, I would say, in the next 2 years, Alden's going to bring in 5 new locations across the US in 2 years. So we'll be acquiring at the same time more companies, which will require a stronger partnership again with both NetSuite and Zenardy, because the more the company grows, the more assets that come in, the more people that come in. I'll be looking at things like Suite Tax to implement, the CRM module. Eventually, we might even see if we need the payroll side of, Oracle NetSuite. What I like to see is everything housed in one place, because it makes it more efficient when you have everything. Now, granted, Stamply and Expensify help us being connected in, but the more you have things in one place, it's easier to go in and procure that data, or pull out information or KPIs. It makes life easy for everyone. So in the next, I would say 2 years, 3 years, that's going to be the biggest approach for me, is to have a very strong partnership with both Oracle NetSuite and Zenardy.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I think that integration is really key for your business and everything moving forward. I know we've got about 4 minutes left, so I'll remind everyone to submit any questions that you have in the chat. But it looks like we can probably cover off on this last question for you, Anthony. Do you have any advice for someone going through a similar implementation, just based on everything you know now, going through a full process of this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, and I thought about this many times. I had sleepless nights during the initial stage of the implementation. But I would say, to anyone going through an implementation or starting off an implementation, I would say milestones. That's the key word. Set them, discuss with your, implementation partner what they are. Take a look at your expectations of what you're trying to achieve during that milestone, and break it up into pieces. And it's okay if you don't reach that milestone. If it takes it longer to complete it, take longer, because you want to get it right the first time. A lot of times I've seen implementations where folks have, gone through half the process and then jumped onto the other one. And then at the end, it's just chaos, right? Just take your time, set milestones, work with your business partner, and make sure that it's completed before you move on to the next step.
I can see how that would be huge. So appreciate that advice. But just being mindful of time, I think we'll wrap it up here. So thank you, Anthony, so much for your insight. And thank you, Zenardy, for speaking with us today. I want to also thank everyone for joining today's webinar. We'll be sure to send the on-demand version of this in case you missed any parts throughout. But we just thank you for joining, and have a great rest of your day.